I read somewhere, or I saw somewhere that you actually did you support Trump in this first run for office? I just want to.
Yeah, I voted for
Okay.
Trump in 2016.
Okay.
And
What?
in
Why?
fact, I voted for him in 2020, and I just voted for him in 2024. I
Okay.
just yeah,
What the hell?
yeah.
Why?
So I will
Why'd you
tell
do
you
this?
why.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
So I was in 2016. I'll go through the history, and then we'll get back to money. In 2016, I was furious that anybody would vote for Trump or even consider voting for. I worked in New York for 11 years, and if you worked in New York for 11 years, you hated Trump, right? So you just thought Trump was impossible. Anyway, so we went through the election, and my background is such that I would do anything to make sure Hillary Clinton was not president. In fact, I was in the Netherlands on the night of the election. If she won, I would not have come back to the country. I didn't think it was safe. So, but the
So
guy
so
who,
wait. So let me just because for me it was about the Supreme Court and knowing that the next president would have one, two, maybe three picks, and I was absolutely right, would change the trajectory of our
right.
laws forever. So you were okay with the Supreme Court
So
being
I believe Trump would pick people who are more strict constitutionalists.
Mm.
so
That's
originalists is what they call themselves.
people who are more in line with the Constitution, is what I thought. I mean, you have to understand my experience with Hillary Clinton is there is no one more corrupt in this country than Hillary Clinton.
Have you met Trump?
Yeah,
What
no,
are we talking about?
actually,
Oh my God.
I have met Trump. So,
Oh my
so,
God.
so I didn't say Trump was better, but the person who persuaded me to vote for Trump was Michael Moore. Michael Moore said, because I've spent from no, no,
Catherine.
no, no, no. You asked me, I'm going to explain it.
I do.
From,
Okay.
from, 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 when was it? When did I go to Washington? So from 1989 until 2016, I invested enormous amounts of my time and energy in trying to help reform the federal government, right? And Michael Moore said that if Trump was elected, it would be the biggest FU in the history of recorded history, in recorded history. And I suddenly realized, if you can't fix something, break it.
Well, that happened.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
voted for Trump you know, just to get change. And the one thing I liked about Trump is he brought transparency. We haven't talked about transparency yet, but if there's one thing we can all do to help, we can bring transparency.
Okay. Can
Okay?
can I just
Yeah.
you have a luxury that I don't have, right? Catherine Austin Fitz. You're probably not gonna be snatched up in the streets going to and about
Oh, I
to and
totally
from.
disagree. I've been poisoned 8 times. I've been run off the road. I've been
What?
followed.
What?
I am
No
sorry.
way.
I've dealt with
No.
much more
No.
physical harassment and danger than you have, Karen. And you are so wrong. I'm going to be one of the first to be okay. But you have to understand. I went through a process where I had to decide: am I going to be free or I'm going to be a slave? And
Yeah.
that's why I'm not worried about money because you can't pay me enough to become a slave.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it. There is a line that is more sacred and more important than money. And you see people all around this country who are trying to stay in the middle of the road and they are selling themselves and their children down the river, for a little bit of money. And they are basically buying their way and they're being honey trapped into slavery. And you
And
can't
I,
do
I,
that.
I would I would ask that as being the only person in this screen right now who's an ascendant of somebody that was enslaved on both sides, y'all are throwing that term around as if it's
I
something that any of you
disagree.
understand what it is.
I totally disagree with you. I know more personally about slavery than you do, is my bet. And
Okay,
yep,
let's go.
yeah,
Go ahead. Go. Let
you
me hear it.
no, we're not getting into that. I'm not getting into that because we're not here to
So
play victim. But
no. Wow.
but you
Oh, come on. Come on.
no,
Come
but
on.
you have to understand there's plenty of people who've been slaves in all colors and creeds. And I get
Mm.
back to this whole thing of this is the mega rich versus everybody else. And if you look at what they've done to chip people, to brainwash people, we just had a report on the Slay report called Neurowarfare. And we had one a month before with one of the MK Ultra victims.
Yep.
And if you look at what they are doing to enslave people and enslave their minds, it's unbelievable.
Okay.
And
Let
it's
me say
everybody.
yes, you're factually correct. This victim thing doesn't exist in my spirit, so you need to know that, and that's a little insulting for you to couch it that way. So I'm just going to tell you that's insulting. However, when we talk about where we are right now and having the freedom to move about the cabin, you literally put somebody in office who has no concern about rule of law or what was happening with the military today is super egregious, and folk have no rights, which is supposed to be constitutionally, codified,
Right.
right? We're supposed to have
Right.
the right
And
to
that
have due process. There's no due process.
right.
People are being
But
put on planes and
that was
disappeared.
true. That was true for both my two options, unless I voted independent. The reason I voted for Trump in 2020 and 2024 is if you identify the best freedom fighters right now in political life in America, they're in the state legislators. And if you talk to the state legislatures who I try to support,
Okay.
they feel they're better off with a Republican White House, and that's true. If there's a Republican in the White House, they can get more done for their states. And
So
that is
we're
why I
talking.
voted for
Let
Trump.
me say. So Oklahoma, which is completely red, every county voted for Trump. They're last in just about every category, from education to wealth, all of them, health. Massachusetts, every county voted Democrat. Every county in Massachusetts, and they're like number one and number two in all of these. The numbers don't bear out. These red states are suffering. They're the poorest. They're the least educated. They are struggling with that man
Right.
in the White House.
Right.
So I don't.
But
The
but
numbers don't bear it out.
they are struggling from the uniparty. They are struggling from the uniparty and the uniparty game, and that's why we've got to stop getting trapped in the uniparty game. The uniparty, both sides are stealing the 21 trillion. We are missing $65,000 per person, and every year everybody in the uniparty votes for that to be so. There is no hope on either side of the uniparty. So
Okay.
let me tell you the red button story. Okay? Because you got to get to the heart of this problem. So in the summer of 2000, I was asked to give a speech on how the money works on organized crime to a group of people who have a conference once a year to talk to how they can evolve our society spiritually. And so I was in the middle of the speech and I was talking about the congressional hearings for the Dark Alliance allegations in South Central LA. So you know the Dark Alliance story,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, we
Okay.
covered it on Fraudsters, did the whole war on drugs, MK Ultra and
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
Okay. So a person who, a reporter I was working with had been told by the Department of Justice spokesperson during those congressional hearings that the U.S. economy launders $500 billion to $1 trillion a year in all dirty money.
Mhm.
So I said to this wonderful audience of people, I said, what would happen if we stopped being the global leader in laundering money? And the audience had a little discussion. They said, well, we'd have trouble financing the government deficit. So our taxes might go up and our government checks might stop. And we'd have, the money might leave the New York Stock Exchange and go to Singapore and Zurich and Hong Kong. So our IRAs and 401ks would go down in value. And I said, okay, let's pretend there's a big red button up here on the lectern. And if you push that button, you can stop all hard narcotics trafficking in your neighborhood, your town, your state tomorrow, thus offending the people who control $500 billion to $1 trillion a year of all dirty money. Who here will push the button? And out of 100 people dedicated to evolving our society spiritually, guess how many would push the button?
Zero.
One. So I said to the other 99, why would you not push the button? And they said, we don't want our government checks to stop. We don't want our taxes to go up. And we don't want our IRAs and 401ks to go down in value. Okay, now we're going to make Karen the president of the United States tomorrow.
Nope.
So Karen's going to be in the Oval Office. I know how you feel. And your political guy, your Karl Rove guy, is going to come in and say, Madam President, the American people just spent billions of dollars to get you elected, and they all want their check. They want the community block development grant. They want their new government contract. They want a big government purchase, blah, 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 blah. And you're going to turn to your Secretary of Treasury, and he's going to say, Madam President, you need to kiss the ass of the people who control $500 billion to $1 trillion a year of all dirty money and the accumulated capital thereon. Now, here's the magic secret. If we push the button, we could create explosive new wealth if we did it in the right way. But what you do in northern New Jersey is totally different than what you do in Oklahoma, is totally different than what you do in Brooklyn, is totally different than what you do in Orange County. Okay? It's a place-based, you've got to have economic and political decentralization to optimize the money. And the reality is the president can't do it unless 80% of the American population will support the president doing it. So
you want this thing to be broken, even if it costs
To build it back up.
lives and causes a lot of harm.
Well,
You're
if I
okay
may,
with
I
that?
think she's already saying it is
So
costing
let me
lives.
tell you something.
Okay.
The American tapeworm has eaten its way through the global host and the domestic host for decades, and every year it gets worse. And the killing and the slaughtering and the stealing gets worse. We are watching the first live streamed Holocaust of 2 million people right now, financed by the American empire. Okay? Live stream Holocaust. That is the tapeworm. The tapeworm is going to make a fortune on the land, the oil and gas, the water. Okay? That is the tapeworm plundering for the American empire, right? And we are financing it and we are supporting it. And it's been getting worse and worse and worse. So one of the things we say on the Solari report is Gaza is a method, because if they can prove out this method and get it to work, it is coming
right
to
on this.
it is coming to your neighborhood tomorrow. The same surveillance techniques, the same drone techniques, the same bombing techniques, the same everything.
And you voted for this, though. Like this.
No, I voted. You voted for this. If we went to the polls and voted for the president of the United States, then I always vote. Okay.
Me too. But I didn't vote for that because I knew this would happen. I knew Gaza would be turned into beachfront property because that's what was said out of his mouth.
Both parts of the Uniparty were going to do this. There's only one difference between, if the other part of the Uniparty had gone back into the White House, the only difference is Trump is moving much faster to build a control grid. And because
the difference is we can protest the other party. We can't protest this one safely. But we have to go.
Oh, that is a lie. J6 says that is a total lie.
Oh my goodness. Are you okay?
J6,
we got to go. We got to go to break. We're going to be cut off.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will